My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. All right, welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to talk about the resistance during the weight loss journey, and really the resistance that you feel anytime you're up-leveling yourself. This is a topic that nobody really talks about because we just see the end result. We see someone with the shiny new car, we see the person and they've lost all this weight, yet none of us really take the time to understand that there's a process to any goal, to anything that we truly want, anything that's worthwhile hitting. There's a process to it, and we always want to see just the end result, right? And that's all we have in our mind, but we need to talk more about the journey and how it feels, and not to sit here and man, this was hard, everything was frustrating. That's not the picture I want to paint. But on the other hand, understanding that, hey, this is normal. Like, life is going to pull you and suck you and drain you in any which way you will allow it. But here's what you can do instead. Okay, so this is where we're going to go today, because the problem I see is we think that anything we want in life is just going to be this easy peasy process. Now, on the flip side, it does not have to be hard. So I do want to install this belief that everything can come easy should we allow it to. And there's a lot of training that actually goes into everything being easy and effortless and just constantly everything coming your way. This takes a lot of mental programming, and you can absolutely get there. This is where I'm stepping into this space for myself, and it's taken me, a fair amount of time to work through this. I had a client years ago ask me, how long did it take you to install some of these belief systems? And I'm like, well, it can take you as long as you want it to take, right? And she kind of was just like, wait, what do you mean? And I said, some of us are early adopters. Some of us just like to fight things tooth and nail. And that's what I want to really lean into, is when we understand where we want to go in life, when we understand ultimately our goals and the purpose and the passion and the meaning behind why we want what we want, such as weight loss or our health, to be strong, to be fit, to look good and love how we look at ourselves in the mirror. I mean, we have to understand why this is even important to us. But here's where I really want to go with this conversation is we have to be so brutally honest with ourselves. Something that, has been brought to my attention was when my husband and I just heavily invested in really optimizing our health. And it was very eye-opening to get all of our blood results, our DNA results, just methylation, all these things that I had no clue. I'm learning, right? But really looking at things from a completely deeper perspective and having a doctor brutally look you in the eye and ask you about some of your lifestyle choices. And it was just a smack in the face when I was like, holy moly, I'm actually doing this to myself, where exteriorly you would look at me and you'd be like, hey, she's doing great. She looks good. She's fit, strong, all that good stuff. And, I can wear anything in my closet type of thing. And so it was very, very just like jarring when I finally just was like, hey girl, like if you want to go to this whole other level with your health, you're going to have to tell the truth about why, for example, for myself personally, why you've consumed so much alcohol if it's not serving you. And the reason I share this and I'm so open about this is whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's sugar, whether it's drugs, whether like we all tend to have something. And what's the real root cause of why we do what we do? And so I'm going to share with you two things. One of them is we're just not being honest with ourselves. Okay. We're just not being honest that, hey, what I'm doing with food is actually not getting me to my results. For some of us, we are completely unaware. So I do want to call this out that for some of us, we just had no education in food. We don't understand how to properly put together our food for the day. We have no idea how much protein we should have, what are good carbohydrates that we should have. And I think we assume a lot of things when it comes to, oh, well, this person did this diet, so I need to do this, and this is what worked for her, so I'm going to do what she said. Or we go down some of these gimmicky routes where it's like sugar detox and, step challenges, which, I run these things in my personal Facebook group, but 1 week focusing on your steps does not get you to the ultimate version of yourself that you want to be. It takes a lot more than that. And so it's being brutally honest with ourselves. What is the actual problems? For myself personally, I know that it's more of a coping. It's more of a escape from the day. And when I really ask myself, hey girl, what are you escaping from? Like, I created this life. This is what I want. Or is it? And so these are things that I've had to get really brutally honest with myself. And here's the thing. When you've been doing something one way for so long, for example, when you've been eating a certain way for so long, it can be challenging to change how you look at food, how you treat food, what foods you buy at the store, what you order at a restaurant. And here's something that I've shared this on multiple times is we have to get out of always wanting to lose weight. We have to actually see ourselves at final destination and understand that, hey, I'm probably going to have to say no to some of these Christmas cookies or, the extra desserts at Thanksgiving because I want to hit my goal. And that's a good thing. And it's okay to say no temporarily to then be able to have a splurge here and there, to not worry about one meal affecting all of your results, right? But it's when we give ourselves that out every single day. Oh, it's just one cookie. Oh, it's just, ordering this entree versus something that would be a little bit lighter and a little bit healthier. And it's getting really honest with, I actually want this. And that's all that really matters. Like, this is what I want. And I deserve it and I can have it. But here's what happens. The second we start doing things a little bit differently, and let's say those around you maybe haven't gotten on the same frequency that you are, it can be challenging. If everybody else is ordering ice cream and then it comes to you and you're like, I really shouldn't order the ice cream, but everybody is staring at me. 9 times out of 10, you're going to order the ice cream because that's what everybody else is doing. And so this is this resistance that you're feeling. But in that moment, if you were so in tune with your purpose, with why you want what you want, those situations become easier and easier and easier. There are so many times when I've gone to a restaurant and they know our order and they're going to bring out the drinks because that's what we normally would do. And it takes a different level of strength to say, hey, actually, hey, this is what we're doing. And then to get the side eye, right? Like, what are you doing? I'll never forget when I was pregnant with Leo. And this is so embarrassing, but I'm going to tell this story anyways. But the first person to find out, other than Tony, was a server that always would serve us at a local restaurant that we really enjoyed going, and we frequented practically every week. Maybe it wasn't exactly that much, but it was enough that they always knew what drink I wanted. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're pregnant." And I was like, "Dude, hey, hi." But she was correct. And so, it's one of those things where in those moments, obviously a pregnancy is going to stop you, in your tracks, and rightfully so. But it takes a different level of strength to say, "Hey, I know I always do this, but today I'm going to do this instead because this action is actually aligned with my goals." I always think of these things along business lines as well. Like you can always tie all of these concepts back to go into any direction towards any goal that you want. If you want to have a certain financial status, but yet you keep spending all your money, or you're constantly racking up credit card debt, it's no different. You have to stop the behavior because it's aligned with what you want. So here's this problem gets even deeper, is we never ever fight the resistance. And now I don't want to use the words completely fight, but on the flip side, I want you to expect a level of resistance when you are going down any type of journey, especially a weight loss journey. You're going to have to check yourself. You're going to have to get through certain situations. You're going to have to order something different at a restaurant. You're going to have to say, "No, I don't want, another piece of grandma's famous, whatever." So we have to really think about, what is it that we want? Because when we're so in tune with what we want, the resistance gets easier and easier and easier. And this is where this journey can be effortless. This journey can be easy. Even for myself, I have to really check myself on my goals and what I want. See, I have wanted this certain car for an extremely long time. And I've looked at them and constantly felt like, it's not practical. You should get, a different car because it's more practical. It has the third row versus this one just is more performance. And I kept fighting myself on actually going and getting what it is that I wanted. And why? And so it's all the stories. It's all the things that we perceive to be true that aren't even true. So where I want you to take this message here today is to understand that when you're going for big things in life, when you're leveling up your frequency, when you're desiring things that not everybody else around you is desiring, you're going to feel a certain amount of resistance because it's different. And here's the thing. Lean into the resistance. It's a good thing. It means there's lessons. It means that we can learn from these moments. And I almost kind of get excited because if things do stretch me and push me, I know I'm on the right track. Because if I just sit stagnant and stable, then what's the purpose, right? Because I have certain goals that I've said vocally, this is what I want, yet I'm over here doing actions that absolutely don't align. Of course, you're going to feel resistance. This is where you self-sabotage. This is where you are constantly frustrated and mad and nothing's going your way. But instead, if we would just lean into this and understand hey, this is part of the journey. This is part of the process. That's where we can really bust through. So I want you to expect that when you're on a weight loss journey, you are going to rub up against things that make you feel like, screw it, or, I'm just going to have a little bit. And I want you to understand that these moments are normal. It is very, very normal. But what I want you to get really aligned with and in tune with is understanding, Arin said I would feel this feeling, and I have two options right now. I could always do what I've always done and get the same lack of results that I've always gotten. Or I could say, there's that resistance. I'm going to do this instead because this is aligned with who I am now and who I'm becoming as a part of this journey. This journey will always evolve. This journey will twist and turn. But if you quit, that's when you fail. But when you decide to learn instead of fail, that's when you move, and you move quickly and you move forward. What got you this far in life is not what's going to get you the rest of the way. You determine the way by understanding what it is that you actually want. It's always going to start with your health. And we have to be brutally honest with ourselves that we are not living to the potential that we could live up to. We are not consuming the foods that are giving us the highest performance out of our body. We are not getting the steps in and doing the appropriate workouts. And why? Why? What is that purpose? Now, anyone logically could say, well, Arin, there is no purpose. Well, then cool. Why do you keep doing it? And this is the conversation that we have to have with ourselves. We can't sugarcoat this. Anyways, I'm going to tell you to cut that sugar anyways. So I hope you're laughing. But we have to understand what is ultimately holding us back. Typically, there's fear, there's self-doubt. Everybody else is doing something different. I'm going to be the outcast in my family. These are things that I personally have had to work through. And this is why I can speak so powerfully on this, is because I have had to let a lot of that go. I was driven into this industry because of so much purpose and passion for helping women. I want to see women live on a much higher level, but it's going to require us being brutally honest with ourselves. What we are doing today is not serving us, yet we make a million excuses as to why it's okay. All the rest of my friends are overweight. I'm going to be the skinny one, and what are my parents going to say? And, what is my husband going to say? Because, he's not on this journey. And we can make all these excuses. Listen, after 17 years of doing this, I have literally heard them all. Actually, probably not yet, but there's always room for improvement. But what we have to do is we have to understand that it's okay to desire something different for yourself, and it's okay to do things differently than those around you. And it doesn't make you any better. I don't ever look at myself like, oh, I've got it all figured out. My life is perfect and la-di-da-di-da. But I know that my life is aligned with my calling and my purpose. I know that I get up every single day and I help women, and I do things that allow the freedom for my family and our kids, and to have an extremely loving relationship with my husband, because these are the things that I've designed and what I wanted. And so that is what I align my actions towards every single day. So I want you to understand that there will be resistance towards any journey that you're going on. You will have things check you. It's if you choose to learn from them that you will move powerfully forward. If you keep creating excuses and whining about the process and, oh, this is too hard, then you're always going to continue to be in the same space. Level up your frequency. Desire what you actually want for your life and move forward fast. That's probably one thing that drives me most batty, is when we make weight loss take forever. Like, just get it done. Say no today so that tomorrow is a new day, is a better day, and we keep seeing that scale move, and ultimately you change. You change, and that is ultimately what has to happen. I had to change in this process as well. I could not keep being the same person that I had always been. And I struggled with that for a while. And, I had to even get clear myself. This is a constant evolution. And I'm here to tell you that this journey is worth every single lesson, every single step, because there is more abundance to this life than any of us realize. Go get them.